So Lou Dobbs said some hilarious things on his Fox Business Network show, a show that nobody even knows exists. Check this out, and then we'll have a good laugh.
That's just one quarter. We don't know if we can continue it forever, but that's getting back to old American-style post-war growth and productivity, and that's how you get those rising wages for the middle class. So the
14 years. And what's interesting about that includes all of the Obama administration, a radical left-winger, and a good part of the Bush administration, a radical, what would you call him, liberal himself? He wasn't a conservative, but they were
grew government in a big way.
Free traders, weren't they?
Well,
they were free traders. And it took a strong president to stand up and say this country is not going to hemorrhage anymore.
Well, in a phone call with the president today, made the case that the problem was regulation and taxes.
You blinked when I said that Bush was a liberal, not a conservative.
He's certainly a guy who grew government a lot. He grew regulation
and debt a lot, and went and attacked the wrong countries. By the time you get through with that administration, you wonder what the hell we've been going through for the past 30 years. If we don't have Trump, this country would be an utter disaster.
What an idiotic little sycophant. I mean, what? We need Trump. Trump's amazing. What exactly would your argument be as to why he's doing so great? I mean, I know what they point to, because they did in that segment. That segment was a lot longer, and, they talk, the unemployment rate, the market. And they go on to brag about the deregulation. Lou, how dumb are you, man? So, when it comes to the unemployment rate, sure, the unemployment rate is low. Yeah, the unemployment rate is low. But you know what else is low? Wages. So that's an important fact that you leave out because it doesn't paint such a rosy picture. The stock market's doing well because corporate profits are through the roof. But again, wages are in the dumps. And then the idea of praising the regulation, how many times do we have to learn the same lesson of history over and over and over? It happened in the 19-teens and the 1920s. Deregulation and tax cuts for the rich led to the Great Depression. Then it happened with Reagan. Reagan brought the top tax rate down from about 70% to 28%. That was the top marginal tax rate under Reagan. And he did deregulation. Soon as he left office, giant crash. And obviously the same thing happened under Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. Bill Clinton repeals Glass-Steagall. George W. Bush does more deregulation, tax cuts for the rich. And we had the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. So every time you cut taxes for the rich and deregulate, you have what's called a boom-bust cycle. Everything takes off. Oh my God, that's why they called it the Roaring 20s. Oh my God, the good times are never going to end. Everything's going so well. Oh shit, the market just tanked. We're heading towards a cliff, and we're heading towards it again, and Lou Dobbs is too stupid to realize it. So from the Trump fart sniffing is disgusting. But the point about Bush, see, this is the way a child thinks, Lou. I don't like Bush, so therefore Bush is a liberal. What? So anything that's bad is by definition left-wing or liberal. That's the way Lou Dobbs thinks because he's a child. Anything good is by definition right-wing. I've seen this thinking before. That's, Steven Crowder 101. Actually, yes, Hitler was a socialist liberal. Actually, no, Jesus was not on the left. Everything good ever is right-wing. Everything bad ever is left-wing. That's their whole shtick. You literally don't even need to watch any of their stuff because I just told you exactly what the core point is going to be in everything they've ever said ever. That's not hyperbole. So, and for those of you who watch, you already know that. So, now what's his reasoning for George W. Bush being a, quote, radical liberal? He says, he grew the debt. Okay. What? The idea that makes him liberal, I got news for you. Every Republican president from Reagan and onward, record debt and deficit. The only one to balance the budget, Bill Clinton. Democrat. So this idea, it's sheer mythology. And by the way, corporate media goes right along with it, not just Fox News, who are obviously on the extreme Republican side, but that's this myth that has just been pervasive through U.S. politics and culture for decades. That, Republicans are the party of fiscal responsibility and the Democrats are not. But then how do you explain Reagan with record debt and deficits? How do you explain Bush with record debt and deficits? Bush 2. Bush 1 increased the deficit as well. You can't explain that. And when it comes to Obama, yes, he grew the debt, but he actually reduced the deficit over his time in office. And that was with dealing with the recession and having to do stimulus spending. So this idea of like, well, obviously he's a liberal. Why? Because of debt. Are you going to take into account like every other factor? Is George W. Bush on the left when it comes to abortion? Was George W. Bush on the left when it came to gay marriage? Was George W. Bush on the left when it came to any social issues? Was George W. Bush on the left when it came to economics? No, we already discussed. He did deregulation and tax cuts for the rich. So again, this thinking is it is by definition on the left or liberal if I don't like it. And then the other piece of evidence he uses to say that George Bush is liberal. He waged offensive wars against the wrong countries. Yeah, that well-known part of left-wing doctrine, waging offensive wars against countries that didn't attack us. Oh, this dude is like, how old is Lou Dobbs? Like fucking 80 years old, and this is how he thinks about politics. If it's good, it's conservative. If it's bad, it's liberal or on the left.